That's what I wanted to buy. Hey, I'm here.
Good to see you back.
That's all I got to say. I'm here.
Good to see you back in Patterson.
I'm glad to be here. I got family up here, so I have to come home every so often. I'm going back down to Arkansas to continue farming like I was doing, and deer hunting and fishing.
So what are your thoughts on the importance of voting?
Of voting, I'll tell you like this. My importance on the idea of voting is when somebody back in the 30s, when they wanted to vote, had to tell somebody how many jelly beans was in a jar. You know how serious it is. Because they did stupid things like that, and they're doing stupid things like that today. And it's the idea of the Republican Party doing this mumbo-jumbo thing of telling bold-faced lies, being in denial of everything that right in your face. Like they say, open up your eyes. I'm not talking about these. I'm talking about these eyes up in here. Open your eyes and you can see the whole picture. This thing is really serious, and I'm not going back. I'm going forward. So we got to mend this thing. So it's very important we get out and vote. People die for the opportunity to go out and vote. I mean, it's the funny thing about people of color. We seem to forget our current history. I mean, biblical history, they ask them about biblical history, they know everything. But ask them about what's been going on. I just asked some people recently about, did they know Kills McKee Corbett? Nobody knew. But how can you not know who she is? She's a woman of color that spearheaded the vaccine that we use to keep us from catching COVID-19. You know, and if you do catch it, make it to the point where it will only be a sickness that you can overcome. You won't say die of it. So all these things are important. So we need to bring it forward. And right now, the most important thing right now is continuing to move forward, because just recently they're trying their best to not teach our history in the school. I think America would have been greater if they had taught the history of the dark history of America, and confess to it and bring it forward, instead of trying to suppress it, because there was a time when you weren't even allowed to even read or write. And now that you have this opportunity, and I'm gonna tell you something else about your history. If you don't start trying to research your history now, there's a chance that you might not even find out about it. The pyramids over in what is Kemet, later named Egypt by the Greeks. All right, if you go there now, you'll find that some of your history is now being like suppressed and kept from you. If you don't try to make the effort, I think that every person, instead of trying to go to certain areas, should go to the source of humanity, the source of religion, the source of mathematics, health, doctrine, the whole thing, the whole nine, the whole realm. You need to go and find out about those things rather than saying that you're going to these other places and wasting your time. Find out about who you are. And another thing for the people of history in this country, you need to know who you really are, because everybody didn't come from Africa. I remember when King George of the Powhatan Nation used to come to the Masonic Temple. I didn't understand. I was just like everybody else. I wasn't really listening, but one day I started listening. That's the reason why you got to continue to tell people things, so one day they'll start listening. I wasn't listening. Then he was saying, if you knew and you could trace your history, he said, a lot of you are not the product of Africa. A lot of you are the product of this country. Your people were here when the Europeans came, which is true. So he said that federal government has money that's bagged up that they're supposed to honor in treaties that they did, that you could receive funding for yourself and for your sibling and your sibling's sibling if you could trace back far enough to prove your identity. I just recently found out myself, my father died at age 98. I just really recently found out that he was considered Native American. I always told people, I just knew just looking, observing and everything. I said, look, I know from what I know that I got Native blood. But now I got it in a documented form. When he went to school, they labeled him Native American. If you go back into some of your ancestors, some of the older people, and that's another thing, you just spend more time talking to the elders, because the things that you want to know, they take for granted that you already know, and you don't know. you need to talk to them, sit down with them, talk to them. I mean, hold a conversation and try to get into them, and they'll start saying like, oh, I remember when we used to do a certain blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot of health issue things that they could share with you that they used to do back in the day. You know, so it's a whole lot. I could talk forever. I'm not going to burn up all your camera time. I'm going to stop now because they might start looking for me later. But let me finish setting up. All right. So until the next time, Patterson. All right.